Can I welcome everyone to Cambridge? It's rather odd to welcome people at the end of the meeting, but it's my first chance to add my welcome to those you've already received. I am an astronomer, and as an astronomer, I have had a great deal of contact with Japanese astronomers who have probably the world's best 8-meter telescope, the Subaru telescope, and in fact just 2 weeks ago we hosted in the Astronomy Institute here a conference where more than half the participants were from Japan. And that's very nice because often we have rather few Japanese, a lot of Europeans, a lot of Americans. But the reason we had all these Japanese was that the most important new project in X-ray astronomy, astronomy done from space, is the Japanese Astro H spacecraft, to be launched in 2 years' time. It's the most important project in that subject, and we had all the people involved in that project with us for a week. It was a great privilege to have them, and also a great pleasure to welcome about 50 Japanese scientists at a conference here in Cambridge. Well, I want to speak really this afternoon, not just as an astronomer, but as someone who is a researcher in science, a teacher of science, and involved in the relationship of science to public policy. Obviously, many of you are going to be professional scientists or engineers, and for you it is important at this stage to become experts in science. And what's happening here is giving you a wonderful head start in those careers. But I think it's important to realize that even those who are not going to be professional scientists need to know something about science. And there are two reasons for this. The first is that really science is part of everyone's culture. Everyone should have some feeling for the fact that we are made of atoms, that those atoms were made in stars, and that we are the outcome of 4 billion years of evolution on the Earth, and that the Earth itself is the outcome of several billion years of evolution going back to the Big Bang where the atoms were made. That's really part of everyone's culture, everyone's birthright. And science altogether is part of our culture, and indeed it's the only truly global culture, because the concepts of protons and proteins and evolution straddle all nations and all faiths. So it's something which brings us all together. That's why it's important for everyone. The second reason why it's important that everyone should have a feel for science is that science impinges on our everyday lives more and more. All of us are living in a world that is determined by the applications of science. And that's even more true for the younger generation than it was for our generation. And it's very important that the way science is used should be determined not just by the scientists, but by everyone. Everyone needs to decide what is ethical and what is important in the applications of science. But if that debate is to happen and to get above just shouting slogans, everyone has to have at least some general idea about science. They need to know what the double helix is, they need to know about atoms, etc. And we have all these debates about whether we should go into space, about the environment. Obviously, you in Japan have great concerns about nuclear power and radiation. But to have a good debate, everyone has to have a feel for the basic ideas of science and also a feel for numbers and risks. Everyone bets and they gamble and they have some feel for probabilities, but they don't use that wisdom when they try to discuss other areas where probabilities and risks are important. And there's a great tendency for people to exaggerate very tiny risks, like the risks of ingredients in food that give you cancer, which are very tiny, but at the same time not to worry enough about some risks, like the long-term risks to the planet if we despoil the environment too much. So we need to see things in proportion, and so that should be part of everyone's education, not science. But of course, all I'm saying now about what should be everyone's education highlights how especially important this group is going to be as the leading scientists of the next generation. You're going to be important not only because of the science and technology you develop, but also because of the leadership you will provide as scientific citizens in all these debates. And one final thing I want to say, because Dr. Albone pointed out that we are a mixture of scientists and engineers here, is that engineering is in most respects more important and often more challenging than science. And I like to recall a cartoon I once saw which showed two beavers. Do you know what a beaver is? Japanese? In Japanese? Yeah. Yeah, okay, yes. Two beavers looking up at a big hydroelectric dam. And one beaver says to the other, I didn't actually build it, but it's based on my idea. And that illustrates that the idea is easier than actually the execution of something. And it's the engineers who actually build things using the ideas of scientists who really deserve the credit. And in fact, in my own subject of astronomy, we think about things, we use computers, but we have made progress compared to the previous generation, not because we're wiser than the earlier generation, but because we have better equipment. And so it's the wonderful telescopes which we have, like the Subaru telescope, the Astro H spacecraft, which allow us to do much better science than in the past. Not that we're cleverer. So it's the symbiosis, the two-way flow between science and engineering, which is so important. Well, I've spoken for long enough, but let me just once again say what a pleasure it is to be here and to see such encouraging evidence of how brilliant the next generation of scientists and engineers are going to be, and also to see this as a great opportunity for collaboration and better understanding between this country and Japan. And I'm sure you'll all watch the Olympics tonight and next week, and let's hope that both our countries do very well. So thank you very much indeed.
Hello everyone, I'm Sakiho Tanaka from Ritsumeikan Moriyama Senior High School. How was your presentation? At the beginning, I couldn't understand everything in English, but I'm used to hearing English a little, so I worry about finish this project. The projects we carried out were very interesting, from visiting the zoo to meeting amazing scientists. Has inspired me to pursue a career in this field. We learned many things about the English culture during the culture evening, which I found that entertained me the most, from making a slime to during the hokey pokey dance. This experience will be useful in our future. Thank you for listening.
I'm delighted to take part in this workshop. Thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity. I'm glad that I could study and research at this great place of learning, Cambridge University. It is very important and essential to cooperate and achieve with foreign people, because we live in the world going global. It is also a great experience, especially for Japanese students, to make presentation for what we did in English. Through this experience, I learned that science is more interesting than I expected. This project has given me the courage to take advantage of every opportunity that is given to me. Well done, and thank you everyone.
Hello, my name is Rosie Waters from County Upper School in Bury St Edmunds. Firstly, I'd like to start off this speech by saying thank you to all the members of staff here involved in this project, especially to Dr. Albone. This project has been an experience for all people, both Japanese and English, learning about different cultures, fascinating science and building new friendships. Everything from learning to write in kanji, making origami, taking part in quizzes, all the way to making slime, have been sometimes new and interesting experiences for everyone here. The science projects have been exceptional and have opened many people's eyes to the future science as well as many potential careers and interests. So on the whole, this week has been very beneficial to all of us, and I know myself and many others are grateful for the work in allowing this week to happen. Thank you very much and all the best with the future. Ariko gozaimashita of Genkido.
Hello everyone, my name is Kiyonari Hashizume. I come from Fukushima Senior High School. And first of all, on behalf of the students and teachers from the Tohoku area, I'd like to express our thanks to all the participants to take part in the project from the Tohoku area. And regarding the presentation, so students spent the very fruitful time, and the presentation works very well, I think. And especially, I'm interested in the radiation project. Many students from the Fukushima High School take part in the project, and they express their opinions. It's a very good opportunity for us. And I'd like to thank to Professor Wade Allison to support the project. And Dr. Allison kindly visited Fukushima last year. Thank you very much. And so let me talk my event or feelings of the workshop. I visited some workshop, and at the algae group, student observed several samples by using the microscope. At first, it's a very hard to observe or find the algae, but finally, Dr. Moritz Meyer, a leader at the workshop, find the algae, and he said, "Oh, lovely." So the word "lovely" is very impressive for me, and I'd like to use the "lovely" in Japan. And in addition, some students in Fukushima High School are interested in the research of the algae, and although they are not here, but it is a very good opportunity for us to find a researcher for the algae. And I'm very pleased to keep in touch the researcher at Cambridge University. And this is one of the possibilities for the utilize this workshop continuously. Finally, thank you again, and I hope the workshop continue in the future. Thank you very much.
I'm Masahiro Kato, a teacher of Kyoto and Shiga Group. Now I'd like to say a few words on behalf of Kyoto and Shiga Group. 皆さんこんにちは。私は加藤正宏と言います。京都滋賀チームの代表として一言申し上げます。First of all, I'd like to thank all students for doing wonderful presentation. まず生徒の皆さん、素晴らしい発表ありがとうございました。I'm proud of you. 私は君たちを誇りに思います。I believe you have gained a thing from this science workshop. 君たちはこのサイエンスワークショップでたくさんのことを得たと思います。So I hope you can take new ideas from this workshop back to your school and share with your school members. なのでこの経験をぜひ日本に持って帰って 君たちの学校のメンバーとしっかり共有してください。Next, I'd like to thank all researchers, scientists, and facilitators for giving us precious and valuable experience. 次に研究者の皆様、そしてファシリテーターの皆様、本当に今回はたくさんのことありがとうございました。大変感謝しております。Our students really enjoyed or love work with you. 生徒たち、私も含めてですけども、研究生の生活をとってもエンジョイしました。Someday, they'll come back to Cambridge as a scientist. いつか我々の生徒、科学者になってケンブリッジに戻ってくると思います。Then, we will resume where you are left off. その時はこの続きをぜひやってください。And finally, I'd like to thank Dr. Eric Albone and Dr. Okano and Ms. Mary Grace, she's not here, and Director Peter Robert, he's not here, and for everything, organizing, hard working, and giving us a great opportunity. 最後になりましたけども、エリック先生、岡野先生、ちょっとお見えにならないようですけども、ミャリー・グレイスさんで、ピーター・ロバートさん、すべてのこと、いろいろ見えないところでたくさんご尽力いただいたと思います。本当にありがとうございます。And we are looking forward to seeing you next year in Kyoto, Japan. 来年京都でお待ちしております。Thank you very much indeed. 本当にありがとうございました。
Hi. As you can see, I'm completely unprepared. I don't have any speech, so I'm going to keep it really shortly. I came as a sort of substitute because our teacher, Mr. Samir Moise, was taken ill, and he inspired me actually to come over here. For me, it's a really first sort of full circle to come here, because my background is in science too. And I studied in Israel in industrial chemistry. So seeing you as a new scientist is amazing and inspired, and I feel quite emotional really, because I wish I had that kind of opportunity when I was younger. I enjoyed this week really tremendously. It was amazing opportunity to see some of you working in labs which are so well equipped. Again, I wish I had that kind of stuff when I was younger. So keep on studying, keep on being inspired, learn from each other, and I wish I could see it again next year. I don't think I can. And thank you very much to Dr. Akano, all the Japanese amazing teachers, to Dr. Eric as well, and sayonara and arigato gozaimasu.
Of course, lots and lots of people to thank, the scientists, the facilitators and so on. Lots of people put in a huge amount of work. I'd like just particularly to mention two people that are not mentioned too much, and the one is, of course, Dr. Taro Kano from Rikyo School in England, with whom I've been working for more than 10 years now, for a long while, in these workshops. And he is absolutely critical in our links with Japan and Japanese schools and Japanese organizations. We don't want this to be a British thing. We want it to be a UK-Japan thing. And it's because of his vision that we were onto something at the beginning. Back in, I think, well, the first workshop with schools was 2001, but we were doing things before that as well, with scientists and teachers in both countries from about 1994, I think. He's actually pioneered what we're doing, and he, from his role as a deputy head of the Rikyo School in England, has been very, very influential. So I would like very much to thank him. I'd also like to thank, I say, many of the people who are behind the scenes, who have been doing all sorts of things, people at the Keiretsu Center, and one person who's not mentioned anywhere in the program is Angela Stevens. I don't know if she's still here. Is she here? Yes, at the back there. She's a first-year undergraduate in Homerton College, and she's bilingual with Japanese, and she offered her services as a facilitator and as a overall coordinator for things, and I think she's done very well, so thank you very much, Angela. thank you very much for all your input, and we all do appreciate everyone else. So let's clap each other.